What is up, guys? We are back from Korea, and I know it's been a little while, so I really wanted to do this video last week, and the week just got away from me. Coco's here with me as well, but I did want to do a video just to kind of recap the entire contest prep because I appreciate you all following my journey going into the Korea Pro, making my 212 debut, and I didn't want to just leave it ending on the day of the show. I think we was our last video, and I really wanted to just kind of bring it full circle, tell you a little bit about my prep leading up to the show, and just kind of my difficulties, what went right, what went wrong, and also the day of the show in Korea, making that debut after the show in Korea, time spent there, and just absorbing the culture, the food, everything that went down the 4 days after the show before coming home to the States. And then also my time home with my family. Just to give you a little rundown on coming back home out of contest prep, what life is like, and jumping right into the holiday season and what my plans are for 2024 and as we ramp into off season and my future bodybuilding kind of plans, I'll say that. So, starting with prep itself, we weren't supposed to do a show this year, believe it or not. Dom and I teamed up probably about 8 months ago and really was trying just to kind of get in a good sync together, him understand my body, and grow into the 212 class. Once I went over to Korea in July, found out that we had a 212 show opportunity we could compete in. It was later in the year and here in November, so it worked out pretty well. And it's something that's always been on my bucket list since competing. So he knew it was important to me, and we made it happen. And it wasn't something that we planned on doing this year. This was supposed to be a whole grow year into the 212 class, but we kind of shift gears and we went right into prep phase just because he knew how important it was for me, and it was something I definitely wanted to do. With everything open, you just never know anymore with COVID and all the craziness in the world if the opportunity would present itself in the future. So I didn't want to live on any type of regrets, and opportunity was there, so I took it and ran with it. Prep itself went really well. We took a different approach with training. He had me training just 4 days a week, actually, which I've never done ever. So that was a different change. We were trying to preserve as much muscle tissue as possible just because my metabolism is burning so fast. And he knew we wanted to preserve that towards the end as far as training, increasing volume, and kind of pushing it in the gym more. So we went 4 days a week just to lower the amount of calories I was burning through. And then we pushed a little harder about 6 weeks out, 8 weeks out. We went to 6 days a week. Um, and that definitely kind of ramped things up even more for me. But Dom himself, like, it's been an amazing experience working with him and truly a class act when it comes to a coach and his accountability, someone you can count on. I was 14-hour time difference in Korea, and my man was up every check-in, dialed in with me. Um, and I can't say enough good things about him as far as just being there for me, answering questions that I have, and just truly understanding kind of the process because he competed. So the process of kind of what I was going through, where my head was at, some of the challenges in prep. Nothing ever goes completely smoothly during prep. No matter what prep it is, you're always going to have those hills and those bumps in the road that you have to kind of overcome. And no matter what prep I've been in, there's always been challenges. This prep, I mean, granted, health was in check, and that's the main thing I always hope for because I had food poisoning one prep and never wish that on anyone. As far as going into my peak week, I had food poisoning and horrible experience. So with health in check and being able to do everything going into the show as far as cardio, training, no injuries, no digestion issues. So that's all you can really hope for when it comes to prep. Family and being a dad, being a husband is a whole different prep where life still moves on. no matter if you're in prep or not. Life is going to continue on and things are going to happen. And for me, being present is one of the most important things of being a dad, husband first, bodybuilder third. So being involved with, I mean, God, how many weddings? We must have had like 3 or 4 weddings, I feel like, this prep. So not being able to drink, eat, but still socialize. I mean, that's always a part of it. Like, my wife is my best friend. So, like, getting to attend weddings and just party with her is fun. And going to different events is fun in itself. And my daughter's busier than ever right now. So, dance, cheerleading, uh, she has us pretty tied up with a lot of those things. So, again, just kind of moving through daily life, keeping up with everyone else, but going through prep definitely makes it a little tougher. And when it comes down to it, no matter what your mindset is, no matter how hard I try and say I'm going to be the same person out of prep as I am in prep, your mind shifts, things change. No matter how hard I try or prioritize that, I know I'm different during prep, especially those last, call it like 3 weeks, 4 weeks when I'm really pushing. So, I mean, they're my number one supporter, so I'm very appreciative for them dealing with me through some of the crankiness and through some of the hunger spells, I would say, and just, I don't want to say pressure, but pressure I put on myself as far as competing and bringing my best look and my best package every time I step on stage. But they're always there for me. They're always there with a smile on their face and 2 thumbs up as far as support and being in my corner. And I can't thank them enough for that. When it comes to Korea in the prep, I mean, this is the first time I didn't have to worry about weight. So 212, I wasn't even 212 this off season. So that was one of the beautiful things I would say for the first time in any prep. Did not have to worry about making a weight or basing a look on a weight. So that was a huge lift off my shoulders in itself. And that was probably the coolest thing about prep is it was based on how I looked each check-in, not like truly on we need to drop another like 20 pounds. It was, hey, you look good, let's keep it moving. And that was a really unique experience for me in prep and something I look forward to doing for the next couple of years as far as growing into the 212 class. So we started prep out about probably 193, 194 maybe, and we ended prep around 194, 193. So we got leaner, we grew into the show, and that was the plan going into it, is growing into the show, bringing a leaner, fuller look than I've ever brought before, just because I always had to worry about making a weight. And I'd say we almost achieved that, almost. Korea, got to Korea, awesome experience. My second time in Korea, and my buddy Seth made the trip with me because unfortunately my wife could not make it. Just with my wife being a nurse, my daughter in school and competitive dance, they couldn't take the time off with me. So that was a crappy part of the prep and the Korea trip in itself, because they're truly my rocks when it comes to my people I like to be with 24/7. They're it. But luckily, I had a buddy join the trip with me. Cool thing about it is he's also adopted from Korea, and it's his first time going to Korea as well. So that experience was unique in itself, and very fortunate to have him share that with me. And I mean, just kind of being able to relate with someone who was also adopted from Korea. It's just a unique experience because a lot of the things we could relate to as far as how we felt kind of with our white upbringings and kind of getting more connected with our roots, our culture, where we're from, and being surrounded by just the Korean culture and Korean people is very unique to us growing up here in America. And it's one of those things that just you don't feel. And being there and feeling that is just an experience I can't really explain. So that was really uh, very cool in itself and an experience I'll never forget. As far as the kind of the remaining couple days in Korea, didn't really put on much water weight going into the 14-hour flight. We made it work, and I would say everything was kind of going as planned. The only issue we ran into was with the diuretic. The diuretic just wasn't working like it should have. So that was an issue being in Korea and just not having access to any resources, So we had to kind of make it work best we could. And also too, my body goes into like a crazy burn mode the last couple, I'd say days, like 2 days out, when it comes to just kind of filling out and trying to stay full. My body just constantly wants to burn through food, burn through calories, and it's tough for me to stay filled out. And that was a learning experience, I think, for Dom and I. I kind of knew what to expect with my body. I think it was newer for him. So it's one of those things. I wanted him to kind of take the reins. He's the coach. I'm paying for him and his expertise. So I wanted him just to kind of give me the guidance. I was following him. But now that we kind of ran through a show, it's one of those things where we'll connect on, decompress, talk through some of the challenges I saw, talk through some of the improvements I think we can make together as a team. That's part of a athlete and coach relationship, and making sure we bring our best the next time. But needless to say, I'd say day of the show, I woke up about 191, and by the time I was getting ready to leave, the show didn't actually take place until like 10:30 at night p.m. Korean time. So I left for the show probably around 8 p.m. because I thought I was going to be on stage at like, or 7 p.m. I left, and I thought we would be on stage by like 8:30 ish. Didn't happen. And I left my Airbnb. I was 191 actually, 192. So I put like 1 pound on only all day, with just kind of carving up, filling out, and my body was just kind of burning through it. And then took some food with me backstage. They were running really late. They ran like 3 hours late actually. And I could just kind of feel, it's a feeling that like you kind of have as far as like either you're full or you're flat. And especially when you're that lean, I feel like I could notice it even more. And that was one of the things, just kind of how I felt. I knew I was a little off. I knew I needed more food. But again, we were going for a condition look. We knew we were going to give up some size, so we wanted to try to beat them with conditioning. And I was just kind of worried about my shape. That was the main thing I noticed in the pictures is for me to look my best, I need to be full. I need to be round and I need to be 3D is kind of like just kind of my body and my structure, how I look the best and present the best. And when I'm flat and I'm dry, it's just not a good combo. The roundness is gone, the pop is gone, and I just kind of become two dimensional. And for me, I just can't pull that look off. My hamstrings were like non-existent, I'd say, because I lose it from the ground up and from back to front. So hamstrings were off. They looked like I never trained hamstrings a day in my life. And then as far as connecting and squeezing with those muscle groups, it's one of those things where I have trouble with when I'm that like depleted and that flat. So that was an issue too. Like my back pose, back double, hit it and never opened up, which I never in God, I don't know how many shows I've done, but all the shows I've done never had that issue. So that messed me up too, as far as like presenting my best look in that pose. So I know that was an issue. And just, I'd say, I think my body just needs more calories when we pull water and when we throw in diuretics. And it's just a learning experience. So the biggest thing, I was giving up 20 pounds, 22, I'd say 23 pounds of muscle to these guys I was competing against on the 212 stage. So there's a lot of room for me to get better, improve. And that's the plans this off season is just kind of focus on the growth, focus on filling in some of those gaps. Just based on my own feedback, being my own critic, my legs still need to come up, especially quads, hamstrings. Um, and that's one thing that was apparent to me just standing next to these 212 guys now. The shape on my upper body is right there, I'd say. I could always get thicker, I could always get wider, always get more detailed. And that comes with age, and that comes the more you compete. I think the more detail you just naturally become kind of having and presenting. So I'm excited for the future of my next package. This will be the first like real growing off season I do, and I'm gonna still work with Dom. We're gonna connect here in the next couple days, put together a game plan as far as what this off season is gonna look like, what shows for 2024 we might tackle, and what are on the radar. I have my sister-in-law's wedding, so that's in the spring. So we're looking more towards the fall, I'd say, again for next year, just with my daughter's competition, my sister-in-law's wedding, and just some important life things. Might be moving, things like that. So those are all important things to me I want to focus on. And then obviously off season's a little more flexible when it comes to just living your life and being more human than you are during contest prep. So focusing on that, focusing on the growth here in 2024, and really getting uncomfortable, I'd say, because for me, I like to stay lean in the off season, super lean, where I feel like I'm within striking distance of a couple weeks of being show ready. So I'm gonna have to throw some baggy shirts on and get uncomfortable with just putting on some size, not keeping the leanness as lean as I like it, and just really focusing on pumping and just kind of packing on some mass in the needed areas. So that's going to be the focus 2024 for me as we gear up. And I just want to thank you guys all for joining the journey. It was an important show for me, just being adopted from Korea, and one of those things that's always been on my bucket list to go back to my roots, go back to my culture, and step on stage as a pro athlete. And it was something I could check off the box. Unfortunately, top 10 was not the plan, but as a competitor, I'm always competing to be first. And anything less than that is a loss on the record, but a learning experience for me. So, still a win, still learned a ton of just um, kind of what to expect in the 212 class, I'd say, and where I fall and what I need to work on. And just to be in Korea was just a game changing experience to be a professional bodybuilder stepping on stage with professional athletes of Korea. It was just very cool and a very surreal experience for me. And the Monster Am, it was like an Olympia stage. So the stage itself, the production, everything that was put into that show was just A plus. I mean, you can't beat it with what they put into that. The way I felt as an athlete, just kind of getting a jersey, doing a YouTube live with athlete intros, all just well done, and definitely a show I do again. And for just kind of where I'm at now, came home, enjoyed some food with my family. That was number one to me, is like taking my girls out to eat, becoming a human again, and dad that can have chocolate chip cookies with my daughter, and just coming back to life, I'd say, with just like still on a structure. Like that's just me as far as like a bodybuilder. I always have that structured way of eating and just having some regular meals, but having that flexibility of going out to eat with them, having some ice cream here and there, and not feeling like I'm gonna mess up this whole show. So just having that pressure off me is just a relief, I'd say, at this point. And being home with them, that was the hardest thing I'd say with this prep, is like being away from them and so far away too. We made it work with technology and FaceTime, but just not the same of having your family there with you and having them in the stands. They're my loudest cheerleaders. So having them without me just wasn't the same. So the next show I think is going to be stateside here, US. So stay tuned for what's going to come to that. But did want to give a couple shout outs for this prep, because this prep, um, every prep, there's people that you can't do it without. And that's definitely my wife. She's my number one. She's my rock. She's my Bonnie. And I'd say when it comes to just having my back, being my support, and just kind of just believing in me, um, she does that better than anyone. And she truly makes me feel like anything is possible. So thank her, and picking up the slack with my daughter. Like I said, no matter how hard we try, we're not the same when we're in prep and out of prep. Like we're different people no matter how hard we try. And she picks that up for me and she runs with it. And she's always had my back. She knows how important it is for me to step on stage at my best. And she cares just as much as me as far as how I look and what I'm bringing to the stage. So her, and we had some fun things that we worked out this prep that I think helped, that we'll have to continue. And that was like face masks. It was like sushi meals on the floor. So we found like ways to still enjoy prep together and still have bonding time together when I can't take her out on date night. I can't like do as much just being in prep. daughter number two. Just as far as like her dealing with her dad when he's hangry, when he's just not as fun, not as active, not as much energy as normal, and she still finds a way to keep a smile on her face, put a smile on my face every day, and that's truly the biggest rewards, I'd say. Whether it's me doing cardio in the morning when I'm not feeling it, and she comes in with a smile on her face and just says good morning to me and tells me if I'm slacking. She'll be the first one to tell me if I'm slacking. Um, and she just understands the whole process. Like she's grown up around it, so the posing, she'll pose with me sometimes, and she knows all the poses better than most bodybuilders, I think. But having her support and having her go through the process and just understand what I'm doing, saving me cookies, saving me Reese's Pieces for after my show, and telling her that she's gonna put them aside from us to enjoy. Those are the moments that like just make it truly um, just a different prep than doing it by yourself and having your family backing you. Um, Dom, I mean, he's one of those guys that came in 8 months ago, and he's done a lot for me, and definitely kind of been there with the time difference, and just kind of had a lot of confidence in me. And I feel like I'd never had that with a lot of my coaches I worked with, is the confidence piece. I feel like I lack that a little bit when it comes to how I feel like I see myself versus how I look. So his confidence in me as an athlete definitely propelled me and kind of brought a different kind of mentality. So I look forward to continuing that and keeping him confident in me as we kind of move forward, get better, and pick out another 212 show because we're definitely not done. My workout partner, Loudon, I mean, guy's like a brother to me, and he's been with me for the past probably 3 years, every day in the gym, pushing me, making sure I'm not slacking whatsoever, and making sure I'm pushing to my limit, and always bringing a good attitude, um, motivating me in the gym, and just kind of being there for me, whenever, wherever I need it. He's that person I can count on any time of day, anything I need, and I'm forever grateful for that because there's not too many people that I feel like I can count on like him. And to have him in my corner, support me, and be there for me during prep, and even when I'm out of prep, he's always been there for me and my family. So having someone like that is definitely important to me, and something I'm definitely forever grateful for as well. To have a friendship like that and a brother that I never had growing up. So that's a unique experience. And just all my friends, my family. Um, I mean, my family never took a liking to bodybuilding. My mom, my dad, a little bit here and there, but never truly that big of a liking or encourage, hey, be a bodybuilder type thing. But me going to Korea, I think it opened their eyes to the opportunities bodybuilding presents. And it was cool to kind of see my parents excited, so excited for me to step on stage there. Um, and especially my mom, she definitely not a big bodybuilder supporter, but to see her tuning into my IG live and like being so curious about kind of what I was doing and being supportive, like it's really cool to have their support and just kind of appreciate them encouraging me to go understand my culture, go to Korea, um, and appreciate the life they've given me here in America. I'm forever grateful for that for sure. And my other family, I mean, luckily I have two families pretty much, and that's my wife's side as well, the Gabat side, and they're just as much as my family as my mom and dad, and their support is always there for me as well. As far as family functions and being married to a Filipino, uh, saying no at family functions that I can't eat, like saying no to a kid in Target as far as picking out a toy. They don't take it well, but they've learned to kind of accept me, especially during prep, and understand that I can't eat everything they want me to eat. And they're always offering support, smiles, encouragement, and basing where their family meals are sometimes where some I might be able to eat something, whether it's a steak, um, or a plain piece of chicken. They're always thoughtful when it comes to like picking out family dinner sometimes, and making sure I can be involved with that, especially just making me feel accepted, whether I'm in prep or I'm not in prep, and I'm at a family function. So that's always cool because Filipinos are big on family stuff. There's always family stuff when I'm in prep, it never fails. But I try to do my best to put a smile on, make the best of it, and I do appreciate them just kind of understanding I'm out of it a little and still present for them, and that's always awesome. But as far as the plans for 2024, it's get better, get bigger, and see where the shows line up. But hopefully, pick one out. Keep you posted. We're gonna give you some content here this off season, and take you with the family stuff, with the off season stuff, how I'm eating, how I structure my meals, grocery shopping, training, anything you want to see. Feel free to comment below because do this for me just to kind of look back on my daughter, to have something to look back on as well, but also for anyone tuning in and watching. I want this to be something that you look forward to, something that you get something out of. So feel free to comment below ideas of what you want to see content wise the coming weeks, the coming months, of anything. You name it, we might be able to provide it. And I'll definitely take it into consideration. Also, sponsor Project AD, promo code 15 Justin 15 will take off 15% of your order. Best supplements in the game. They kept me healthy, pumped, energized during prep, and as I go into off season. They'll be a big crucial part of the progress I make, putting on some size, staying healthy, and staying energized as I go into the off season. Can't say enough to them, and just kind of making that switch to Project AD this year. It's been monumental, and it's been an amazing experience to partner with such a great brand of products that I believe in, that I use for my health, for my performance, and truly can't think of a brand that covers the full spectrum like that. And that's why I love them so much, and something I truly believe in. So you'll see a lot more of kind of how I use it in off season, what I'm doing, and the different kind of cocktails, recipes I have with some of their fiber powders, their protein powders, and just ways I get creative in the off season because it gets fun, but you could still have fun and still kind of keep things clean um, at the same time. So I'll give you a little insight to that. But they've been nothing but amazing, and truly appreciate their support in helping me get to Korea, and picking out that show, and having their backing was a huge uplift off my shoulders, and appreciate their support through all of that as well. So that's it. I know this is a little long, guys. Next one will not be as long-winded, but I wanted to give you a recap on everything that kind of went down this prep, why I picked Korea, how I felt placing fell. It is what it is. Did I deserve 10th? Probably. I'd say yes. I wasn't at my best, but I know I could do better, and I know I could be better. And that's the most important thing. Get better, get bigger, and we'll be back. So stay tuned for that, and appreciate your support for this prep. Hopefully you follow me into the off season, and like, follow, subscribe, do it all for me. Comment, and stay tuned for what's next. We'll have something coming next week, hopefully, and we'll keep you up to date from there. We should be able to get back on a weekly basis, pump out some new content for you, and keep you up to date on what's happening, and get you some new stuff. Appreciate you guys. All love here, and stay tuned.